It's no secret that Old School RuneScape is one of the most popular MMOs out there. Despite its age and what at first glance looks like outdated graphics, the numbers are still going very strong. But why? Many people have tried to answer this, but there's a good chance that what I have is something that no one has ever told you before. And if I'm right, you might realize you've been loyal to something that you never fully understood. I'm willing to bet that most of those players, maybe even you, think of the game in a very specific way. Kill monsters, grab loot, and grind skills in a vast medieval sandbox. But what if that's not actually what you've been playing? What if Old School RuneScape is something completely different and most of us just never noticed? By the end of this video, I think it's going to be very hard for you to look at the game the same way again. See, RuneScape 3 and Old School RuneScape share the same world, same geography, same gods, same wars. Up to a certain point, they are the same story. Then the timeline splits. In RuneScape 3, the story keeps moving forward. The gods return to Gielinor, the world enters the 6th age. You become the World Guardian, the central figure in divine conflicts. The narrative escalates because it has to. In Old School RuneScape, none of it happens. The gods remain banished. The world stays in what is known as the 5th age, the age after the God Wars ended, before any of the gods return. And almost for 13 years, Jagex has been adding new content inside this frozen moment. New regions, new quests, new bosses, new entire expansions that never existed in 2007. Hundreds of hours of new content, and somehow it all still feels like it belongs. If this were just nostalgia, it would have fallen apart by now. If this were just a sandbox, the seams would be obvious. But they are not. The game keeps growing and it still feels coherent, still grounded, still like the same world. So something else must be holding it together, and whatever it is fragile. Because if it breaks, we don't just lose a game, we lose the only version of Gielinor that still makes sense. And that would be the second time we'd lose it. So what's actually keeping it intact? One of the things that stands out once you start paying attention is how the game treats you. You are not special. Think about your favorite quest: Monkey Madness, Desert Treasure, Underground Pass. In those quests, nobody treats you like the chosen one. Nobody talks to you like you're destined to save the world. They treat you like someone capable, skilled enough to handle a dangerous job, replaceable if necessary. In Desert Treasure, you hunt down ancient diamonds and unlock powerful magic. Not because of prophecy, not because of destiny. An archaeologist needs someone competent. You happen to be there. The quest is dangerous. The rewards matter. And when you finish it, there's no parade, no ceremony, just the payment and the quiet sense that you actually helped. That's it. But somehow, that feels more real than saving the universe ever did. Most modern MMOs do the opposite. Hell, even RuneScape 3 ended up taking that direction. The story increasingly treats you as a unique hero, whose actions directly shape the fate of the world. Old School RuneScape never does that. You're an adventurer, one of many, capable, experienced, sometimes exceptional, but never cosmically important. And strangely, that makes everything feel more real. But that should not work for this long, because making the player feel less important should weaken the experience. Eventually, it should feel hollow, like you're just running errands in someone else's world. And I know that some might feel that way. You probably did. And I know that I did at some point too, but let's just pretend that it doesn't happen as often. What really happens is that people still care about these quests years later. They remember them. They talk and meme about them. For example, let's look at talented people like Jimmy. He's widely recognized as the quest guy for the way he brings them to life in his videos. So the whole point cannot just be about making you smaller in the story. Something else must be giving weight to everything you do. The answer is not in your character. It is in the world itself. And once you start looking, you will see it everywhere. Take the Caridian Desert. You know it from Desert Treasure, the Calphite Queen, Pyramid Plunder, Tombs of a Mascot. But it is not a desert just because the game needed a desert area. During the God Wars, a god named Tumekin sacrificed himself to stop the Merakian forces. The energy released scorched the entire region. This is why the land is barren. This is why ancient ruins are everywhere. This is why cities like Sophanem struggle to survive. You're not exploring a biome. You're walking through the aftermath of a divine sacrifice. The wilderness exists because that is where the war reached its peak. The land itself is broken. Mauritania became what it is because a Zamorakian lord, Drakan, took control during the wars. The people there are not citizens. They are livestock. Different regions, different outcomes, same cause. And this is where it becomes clear that the game is doing something very deliberate. This pattern runs deeper than you'd think. Let me show you what I mean. The gnomes are not quirky forest people by accident. They live in a fortress, hidden behind mazes and defenses. This is not how a peaceful civilization builds. The gnomes were heavily involved in the God Wars. They were engineers, pilots, strategists. When the gods were banished, the war ended, but the gnomes never demilitarized. They still train, they still build war machines, they still live like the war could restart tomorrow. The Fifth Age did not bring peace to everyone. For some cultures, it just froze them in survival mode. Dwarves did not dig deep because they loved mining. They dug because the surface wasn't safe. During the God Wars, underground meant protection. But after the gods left, their habits stayed. They still build massive machinery. They still fortify endlessly. But no one remembers what the final objective was. A society built for crisis, now living in maintenance mode. Slayer monsters are not random wildlife. Most of them are unnatural. Mutations, creations, failures. These creatures were designed to fight something, or survive something, or replace something. That war never came, or maybe already ended. Now they just exist. Hostile, dangerous, purposeless. The Fifth Age is full of things that outlived their reason to exist. The explanation is not found in what the game keeps adding. It sits much further back, long before your account ever existed. The God Wars. Thousands of years before you ever logged in, the gods went to war. Not a small conflict. A war that reshaped continents, erased civilizations, and dragged on for millennia. Eventually, a god named Guthix woke up, saw what was happening, and put an end to it. He created the Edicts of Guthix, rules that banished all gods from the mortal plane. They can still influence the world indirectly, but they cannot physically return. That moment marks the beginning of the Fifth Age. The Fifth Age is an age defined by absence. The gods are gone, and you feel it. Not in the cutscenes, not in the dialogue. You feel it in the ruins, in the broken land, in the fact that when the things go wrong, no one is coming to fix it. The world is on its own, and so are you. Once you start looking for it, that absence shows up everywhere. The elves isolate themselves because of what the wars did to them. The Fremennik distrust magic because of a cultural trauma. Mistalin and Esgirnia exist in their current forms because of how civilization was rebuilt afterward. Almost every part of the map is shaped by the same ancient catastrophe. If you want more examples of it, like the Korok prison or ancient pillars, I suggest you to check out Wizard's Mind Bomb or Alaric on YouTube. They have excellent content about those topics. Piecing it all together, I was blown away. Now I cannot look at OSRS with the same eyes anymore. This isn't just backstory. This scar is the foundation everything else is built on. Every quest, every region, every choice the game makes. It all points back to this. And now I understand why your role fits. The Fifth Age is defined by the absence of the gods. There is no divine intervention coming. Mortals have to deal with consequences on their own. So when you help a village survive a plague, or investigate ruins, or take a dangerous job, those stories work because they are mortal stories. Problems actually matter, because if you don't solve them, they don't get solved. You're not small because the game undervalues you. You're small because the world no longer revolves around gods. And that's why it doesn't feel hollow. The stakes are mortal. The consequences are real. When you help someone, it wasn't destiny, it was you. But this creates a problem. If the world is this grounded, how has it survived 13 years of escalation? The Twisted Bow eclipses anything from 2007. Raids are mechanically deeper than anything the original game had. Entire continents have been added. Jagex went as far as backporting some of the content from RuneScape 3, like Nex and the Torva armor, things that you wouldn't expect from a game that tries to steer away from RuneScape 3. This kind of growth destroys most MMOs. It happened to World of Warcraft. It happened to RuneScape itself, so why not here? At first, I thought it was just careful balancing. You know, numbers, scaling, but that's not enough. Plenty of games have good balance and still lose their identity. There has to be something deeper. Even now, you are still mortal. You never rewrite reality. You never cross into godhood. You just become a very well-equipped adventurer. The Twisted Bow is powerful, but it is still a bow. The Scythe of Wither is devastating, but it doesn't make you divine. You are just better at surviving. The game raises difficulty and complexity without breaking the ceiling, and so far it has held. The moment you cross that line, everything below loses meaning. If you wield god-level power, village problems stop mattering. Local stories shrink. The world becomes a backdrop. RuneScape 3 accepts that trade. Old School RuneScape refuses it. And that refusal is deliberate. Which brings up the real question: why maintain these limits at all? Constraints are hard. They cut off easy wins. They force you to say no to ideas that would spike engagement. And Jagex is not immune to pressure. They have owners, they have targets. Every studio feels that pull to break its own rules at some point. So why Old School RuneScape devs have resisted it? Well, because Jagex does not have absolute control. Old School RuneScape has a polling system. Most new content needs a broad player approval. I try to pay attention to what actually fails the polls. Content rarely fails because it isn't fun. It fails because it does not fit. When something violates the logic of this world, the limits, the scale, players feel it immediately. They might not describe it as lore, but they recognize the break. The community ends up protecting coherence, even when it costs them content. The real constraint of what gets added seems to be more related to the systems from 2007, and if the idea does not fit, it does not make a cut. Jagex still designs the game. They decide what gets proposed, they shape a direction. The community decides whether it belongs. Neither side has full control, and both are accountable. It is not perfect, but it has shown to be stable. So when people call Old School RuneScape a sandbox, I understand why, but it misses something important. Remember at the start when I said, you might not be playing what you think you're playing? This is what I meant. Old School RuneScape is not a medieval fantasy sandbox. It's a post-apocalyptic world in recovery, scarred by divine war, abandoned by its gods. Every region exists for a reason. Every quest deals with consequences. And you are not the chosen one. You are an adventurer, among many, living in the aftermath. That's what you've been playing this whole time. A world after the end. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. I don't want to make it too corny, but take Lumbridge. Most people see Lumbridge as the place where noobs stay. A spawn point. A place to leave as quickly as possible. Within this framework, it's something else. A small farming town that survived because it was insignificant. Too small to conquer. Too unimportant to destroy. The wilderness is nearby. Mauritania is close. The desert is not so far either. Lumbridge isn't safe because it's protected. It's safe because it wasn't worth destroying. Lumbridge is pretty boring, but it's a place where most of us have some memories. Old School RuneScape works because it reads Gielinor as a place that exists. Not a content pipeline, not a story told to you. A world with history, limits, and consequences. The Fifth Age is not just lore, it's a design philosophy. It's a set of rules that nobody wrote down but everyone seems to feel. And as long as that philosophy holds, the world holds with it. And honestly, I think that's pretty remarkable. So for 13 years, Jagex and the community have managed to keep this balance intact. New content, new challenges, entire new regions, and somehow it all still feels like the same world. That's not luck, and that is not just nostalgia. That's a shared understanding of what this game is supposed to be, even when we can't put it into words. So the next time you're doing a quest, or voting on a poll, or just grinding away at a skill, you're a part of that. You're helping to keep this version of Gielinor alive. And that's one of those things that makes Old School RuneScape feel like Old School RuneScape. If this video changed how you see the game, even a little, I'd love to have you stick around. This was just a brief look at this game's hidden philosophy. There are way more secrets than I could fit in one video, way more to explore, especially when you start seeing the patterns hiding in plain sight.